Hello everyone, my name is Julia and welcome. Before we start, I want to say two things. First is that this video is only coming out on Sunday for the noble reason of me having some fun and taking a holiday during the week. And the second thing is that in the second attempt to film this video. I really like the first one, but oh my god, the lights behind my back just went flickering, and the video was impossible to watch without going epileptic. Let's put it so. And yeah, whilst I was away on my holiday, I bought a new book. I finally managed to get my hands on this Looking for Alaska thing, which has been on my radar for ages. I mean, I've always wanted to read something by John Green, but The Fault in Our Stars uh, didn't really seem to be my cup of tea, so I decided to go for this one. And finally I have it, and I hope that I will start it sometime soon. And now to the topic of this video, that is the Newbie Booktag. I know that my channel has already existed for a while, but I think that it's finally time to do it. Although it will be more of a questionnaire than a book tag, because I don't really have anyone out there on BookTube to tag. Anyway, let's begin. The first question is, why did you start this channel? It's an easy one. I've been on BookTube for over a year now, but almost all the time as a passive viewer. And at some point I just started thinking that I want to share my opinions on the books too. I want to be this person ranting about a naughty character or lauding a brilliant move, anything. And then I just thought, like, why not? And there I am with my bookish YouTube channel. Then question 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I'm not actually sure about anything fun, apart from me having fun whilst talking about books, because I love talking about books, and all of my nearest and dearest know it. Some of them receive 10-minute long voice messages after I finish something particularly engrossing. As for the unique things, I think that my appreciation of classics can be counted as unique, because obviously classics are not the most popular book genre out there on YouTube, but I do really appreciate them. I genuinely enjoy reading classics, and for example, my last week's deep dive into Pride and Prejudice will by no means be the last deep dive into something classic. And I think that it can be counted as unique, let's put it so. Moving on to question 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? I'm mostly excited about talking about books, obviously, because that's what I like to do, and I think that it's better here with this nice video and some jokes than in DMs with some of my friends. Then, question 4, why do you love reading? I've been a bookworm for the biggest part of my life, like for 2/3 of my life for sure. And so when I was little, I enjoyed reading mostly because it was a means of escapism for me. I didn't quite fit into the reality. And to be honest, I don't really think that I fit now, but I'm talking about something else, not this. And I still enjoy escapism into the bookish worlds, and besides, books are just fun, and I'm better able to focus on them than on films, and for that reason, it's just a good pastime for me. Then, question 5. What book or series got you into reading? That's an interesting question. I've already mentioned that I started reading when I was very little, so it's quite hard to recall what I was reading back then. But I think that there mostly were like 3 book series that got me into reading. Actually, all of them were read aloud to me by my mom. So those were this thing about the Emerald City by Alexander Volkov. This is a Russian book, like written in Russian and obviously read in Russian. As for the plot, it's somewhat reminiscent of the wonderful Wizard of Oz. It's not like plagiarism, but I think Volkov was inspired by the work of Fleming Frank Baum. Then the second was the series about Alice by Kir Bulachov. That's again originally written in Russian and read in Russian. But the third thing was truly international. That was the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. My mom read it to me when I was like 4 or 5, and then I reread it all by myself at the age of 6 and 7. And so by the time that I started school, I had already been quite an avid reader, having read the Harry Potter series. Anyway, moving on to the next question. 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? To be honest, I wouldn't ask any. I quite enjoy the situation when I'm sitting in my room and watching their videos filmed in another country by people with completely different lifestyles, completely different from mine, I mean. And I like the situation as it is. I like sneaking this peek into another world. That's again kind of escapism, you know. And I think that I would just like to leave things as they are now. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Well, I've had this channel for 2 months already, I think. So some of the challenges I have already overcome. I mean, the quality of video has really, really improved. I see it myself, and I hope you see it too. As for another challenge, which I'm still trying to overcome, it is my speaking problems. I mean, my prosody and pronunciation are not always up to the mark. They don't quite cut the mustard often, and though I'm working on it, obviously it's not a thing that changes overnight. And the second problem is that I just have troubles with structuring what I am saying. That problem exists in all languages that I speak. Not that I spoke many, but you get my point. I just get lost in my train of thought, and the person who is listening to me is always lost in my train of thought too. Well, we'll have to live with it. One day it may change, but not today. And then question 8, when did you start reading? I think I've already mentioned it, saying that I started reading when I was very little. I learned to read at the age of 3 or 4, and I think I started reading autonomously at the age of 6, probably so. And this actually means that, yeah, I've been reading for 2/3 of my life, like a voracious reader. That's quite an age, you know. And question 9, where do you read? Wherever, whenever. Like, really, I read whenever I can, just to find time for it. I read before bed, I read when I commute, I read during the least exciting classes at school. So there is no special place for me to use for reading. I just read when I have this opportunity, because if I wait till I have this the best atmosphere, everything I want, I will end up never reading anything. And I want to read something. Really do. If I'm not reading anything for a few days in a row, I start feeling like I'm soon gonna become a demented animal. Well, anyway, Question 10. What kinds of books do you like to read? Again, I've already mentioned that I genuinely enjoy classics, but of course, classics are not the only things that interest me. To be frank, I enjoy almost everything. Like, my tastes are quite diverse, and I don't think that I'm really picky about books. Somehow, I end up choosing what I will like. Rarely do I come across a book that I don't enjoy, and even more rarely, I come across a book that I decide to dump in the middle of it. But what I read is really, really it's difficult to categorize it. Let's put it so. Like, I read classics, I read fantasy. Like, fantasy is my one of my favorite genres. I read non-fiction. I read contemporary fiction. Like, I read everything I can get my hands on. I think that's the answer that is the closest to the truth. And then the 11th question, the final one: what does your book collection look like? For quite a while, my book collection was extremely messy and badly organized. But now, fortunately, I have two amazing bookcases. Yep, behind my back there is one of them, where my whole collection fits just perfectly, and there is still ample ample place to buy more books. That not to mention the bookcases that belong to my parents, from where I occasionally borrow something, and the bookcases at my grandma's place, where the children's books, which are like in primary school, are now stored. I've always loved my book collection, but now that it's also aesthetic, I like it even more. As you may see, the bookcase is just in front of my bed, and I really enjoy sitting on my bed and looking at all the books that I own. And this, I think, brings me to the end of this video, which I hope you have enjoyed. And if you want to see me again talking about books, or not only books, please subscribe to my channel Julia Caesar. And bye.